Good day, family. Today we're going to be going over a very important teaching, which is how you free yourself from yourself. So we're going to begin from the direct path, and we could say that there's two selves, right? I'm going to categorize it for simplicity. Noise, love, silence, fear, noise. Let's say capital S, self, and lowercase s. So this is what we truly are. The I am, which another name for it is consciousness, existence, presence, happiness, peace. Okay, so this is what we really are. And this is also always free. So this is never in bondage. This itself is bondage. So it's us identifying with this, right, which all belongs to thought, that we seemingly put ourselves in our own mental prison, because there's only one thing that is the prison, and that is your mind, your identification with your own mind, with your own thoughts. So this is the root cause of suffering, and basically this is very important to understand, is because the moment that we start to identify with our thoughts, we've then gone into the illusion, right? And this is painful. This is suffering, right? So, how do we free ourselves from ourself? Is we first realize that we are the awareness, and we rest in this space, and we watch a thought rise and we watch a thought fall. Watch a thought rise and fall, and slowly it will lose its momentum, where the mind will flatline, and what remains is the eternal freedom, which was even allowing for any of this to happen. So this is the direct path to what we call enlightenment, or self-realization, or freedom, or liberation, or salvation. All of the spiritual traditions get to the point of what we call non-duality, or awakening into the heart. So, non-duality, right? This means not two, or not mind. Because the mind is what creates the two-ness. It's not that this is a problem, it's that we identify with this as us that is the problem. Because in true non-duality, there is no such thing, right? There is no such thought as a problem. Because thoughts are appearing to you, but they are not you. And this is basically, the essence of all teachings, is that the beingness, right, is the real I, or the I of the I, and the doingness is the thoughts, or the idea that you, as a separate self, are the doer. But in reality, in truth, there is only one. And I am that. But this doesn't have anything to do with thoughts. This is unchanging. This is the unchanging nature of life. So, the same energy, the same power that is allowing for this to even be going on right now is the enlightened state. It is light, right? It is animating creation. This is also abundance, or eternal life. So, what we all come to is that we have to eventually come to the place where we realize how detrimental, how poisonous, how parasitical, how toxic it is to identify with our mind, with our mind, and when we take it to be ourself, you seemingly and immediately go straight to hell. So what hell is your own creation of your own mind. Because hell is suffering. Hell is the feeling of suffering. And a lot of it has to do with our feeling state. So, as we said before, we all know the difference between feeling love and feeling anger. Every single being knows the difference between these two states of being. And anger is what hell is, right? Love is what heaven is, right? The kingdom of God or of love is within you, shining as you, right? So we'll just say Christ, because Christ is what we actually are. Another name for ourselves is the Christ or the Buddha, right? These were apparently sages that realized that they are heaven, that they are love, that they are the I am. And this is, in a sense, it's the hardest path, but also the easiest path, because basically all of this is a contradiction and a paradox. Because, oh man, we all know that the moment we wake up, you know, this is me. I just woke up. This is 7 a.m. The mind, before I even get out of bed, and I don't know if everybody can relate to this, but this is what I experience, is that, oh nice, yeah, I gave myself a hat. Oh, and beautiful little ears. Let's give myself a tensor ring on my head. And 7 a.m., the mind starts. Right. Along with life has begun, but I've recognized that my thoughts have also begun. These thoughts. Quick side note is this little teaching here. Car, money, wife, what else do people cherish? Anything, right? My bracelet. Right? A car is just being a car. Money is just being money. Your wife is just being your wife, and your bracelet's just being your bracelet. These are just what is. These all belong to heaven, right? But once again, I'm speaking about identification. The moment you put my car, my wife, my bracelet, my, you have just identified with, now it's your car. And now because it's your car, then every other problem starts. But what if it was just a car that you don't even own anything in the first place? This is all borrowed. This is all God's creation. We're just part of this. You don't really own your home. That's just part of the dream. And you don't own your wife. Your wife is a sovereign being. This bracelet, you don't own it. It's just something that somebody from the shop has created and you've purchased with what we call currency or money, which basically doesn't really even belong to you anyway. It's just this accumulation of energy in our account, and then we gain access to it. Especially money, you know, like when it's my money, because the world is like a lot of it revolves around money. This is what a lot of people live for. It becomes a massive problem. So if somebody steals your bracelet, and you think that it's yours, you're gonna have a really big problem with that because, oh, that's mine, they stole my thing. But no, the truth is that the I am, pure consciousness, can't own anything because all it is its being itself, because it's already everything. So in a sense, it owns everything, but it's a better way to say it is it's part of everything. It's part of the oneness of everything. And it's like the more that we give, right? The more that we give, we're in gratitude. And the feeling of love, then we're basically starting to show ourselves the truth of oneness. And the more that we hoard, it relates to like illness, like almost the more things you have, generally speaking, is the more you identify with these things. And when you lose them, you basically lose your identity, but not your real identity. That's why, my friends, suffering is grace. Suffering, in a sense, is actually the direct path to happiness. This is part of the wild, paradoxical thing of this creation, at least where we are, is that this is how you get to happiness, is you burn away all that you're not in the consuming flame. Okay, just to get back there real quick, so 7 a.m. you wake up with your mind. It's not a problem if you don't identify with it, it just goes. It's only your attention and that deep-rooted identification, right? So we could call this the flame, the divine flame of awareness, also known as the light of God, or the light of love, or the I am presence. So for me, I realized 10 years ago that I was not my mind, because I basically drove myself into the pits of hell by innocently forgive them for we know not what we do. So innocently, because I was never told the truth prior to when I was, which is that I am awareness, I realized that I grew up in a really sick society, and no wonder it's so sick, because most people are driven by the ego mind and are completely identified with who they think they are. Think they are, right? Pure survival mode. And people are just out here trying to survive because they don't know that there's a higher way. There's a higher way of abundance, of infinite supply, of coming into the oneness and feeling and sensing this freedom. So basically is I realized that I was now the divine flame of awareness, because what I did was I asked myself, who am I? And I stared at a picture of Ramana, and I would literally for hours stare at him and ask myself, who am I? And what I did was I realized that I existed prior to my thoughts, and that is the key. So Ramana has this quote, the I am is the path and the I am is the goal. So the direct path is called that because you've already reached the goal, right? But you're always on the path because the path is eternal. And that's why we call it, right, the pathless path. Or, the idea of effortless effort. So what I did was I asked myself, who am I? And then I realized that I was existing without my mind chattering. And that was the greatest revelation. Because now I realized immediately that I am free, and all the traits of these words, which are all synonyms, even Ramana, right? Like Ra, light, love, same thing, mana, Ormus, even like the mana, we call it the mana. So this is all spirit. And basically realizing that I existed without my thoughts is a great revelation. Sorry, I just had to close the window there. Realizing that, I'm teaching in an open space here, so there is people living their life. So basically, what I'm getting at is this consuming flame will burn away all that you're not, all these feelings of inadequacy, of suffering, and that when your attention is on that, it's simultaneously the grace of God, because you've now woken up to your true nature, and now the ego's days are numbered. Because you were never that. But I'm telling you, it fights back. Ooh, the moment that you recognize that you are this will fight for dear life. Because there's this force in the universe that wants you to pull it down with you back into the illusion, back into the identification that you're a separate body mind. But I promise you, you are love. You are happiness already. You are not the body mind. So we sit in the fire. I have some brothers call it the CBA, the churning, right? We churn all that we're not. We burn it in the divine flame. And then we abide as divine love. And that's the teaching for today, family. Have a wonderful now moment. Last thing. The key. The master key, right, is to just be and witness the ascension, realizing you are already ascended. Because you, the ascended master, right? We could call it the higher power or the higher self. You're the one giving life to this dream. So it's up to you whether you want to continue giving life to it by identifying it or just watching it. Because if you don't feed it your attention, you're not feeding it your energy anymore. And now you've come into the creator role. And this is where you can create a new life, right? The saying from Jesus Christ, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. That is so powerful because you're using the statement, the I am, right? You're beginning with the truth. And this vibrational frequency of in thought and feeling, I am the resurrection and the life. You can transcend anything, and I promise you, my friends, you can create a new life no matter how sick your body is, no matter how sick this mind is, no matter what you think you've done in the past. Let all that go, family, and start now. Know that right now you are the divine flame of awareness.